Welcome back to Robot Wars, where last week we saw a big upset as Yovotono crashed out to Bigger Brother in the Heat Final. 2 major upsets so far, and let's see what happens in Heat 4. Back again is Diamond from Janky Shanky as seed number 18 against previous comers Smidzy and New Boys Orange Swing. Vader back again against Sign of the Cross and Advanced Mimic. But first up, 7 seed Firestorm with Throw Over, Choking Hazard, and Decapitator. Firestorm Flipper. Similar in construction to their previous entry Snowstorm, but now with an actual weapon. The treads on the front help pull the opposition up onto the front, the flipping arm to toss them over, and the spike at the back helps protect the rear. But the ground clearance at the back is very high, and the self-rating is quite slow. Decapitator Rambot. The name is pretty much just a pun, really, on B and decapitation. Not very heavy at 61 kilos, and the armor is quite flammable as it's basically fur. Although I'm pretty sure that the real issue for the machine is that there's no Shreemac. Choking Hazard Lifter. A machine with an artwork resembling a Kinder Egg coming out of Canada. A country where Kinder Eggs aren't even allowed. I'm not even going to get into it. The main weapon is the lifter with a projectile attached. The speed is the machine's key factor as it's extremely quick, but its speed can also be its downfall.
Roboteers, stand by.
Firestorm with the front lifting arm and the rear spike. Decapitator with the front ramming spike, and Choking Hazard with the lifting arm and the projectile.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
What the projectile is, I have no clue, but it's very quick and very speedy and already trying to lift Firestorm. Decapitator coming in on, well, there's a dual attack there from Firestorm and Choking Hazard, and over goes Decapitator. And I mentioned before how a lack of a Shreemac would be a problem. Firestorm releasing the pit button. Firestorm now underneath Decapitator again, and there's Choking Hazard skirting with death, driving across the pit. How do they survive? I don't think we've seen that before. We've seen that, however. Firestorm throwing Decapitator up and over, and Decapitator has no self-righting mechanism, so they are out. They are into the Bronze Rumble. In comes Choking Hazard to try and throw over Firestorm. Both very quick machines. Firestorm, who are nearly out the arena, and Decapitator are. I think are they? I think they're stuck on Choking Hazard. Now they're gone. They're officially out the arena, so they are officially in the Bronze Rumble. So now it's just Firestorm and Choking Hazard, and a lot is riding on the 7th seeds. They made it to the grand finals before, where they eventually got thrown out the arena by Chaos too, and I think they even got thrown up by Yovotono. Firestorm, Choking Hazard is a very, very fast robot. Firestorm, that self-rider definitely saving them. They didn't have one in the last wars. We saw what that did to them against Chaos too. And now Firestorm seems ready for that, while Choking Hazard is pushing away at them. And now, Choking Hazard, is Firestorm okay? They're not now! They're in the pit! So is Firestorm, and Choking Hazard throws Firestorm back out, but they fell first. They go into the Silver Rumble, and it is Choking Hazard, the New Boys, through to the Gold Rumble. I don't exactly know what happened to Firestorm there. They seem to have stopped, and Choking Hazard took advantage. Next up, Vader, Advanced Mimic, and Sign of the Cross. Vader Spinner. They seemed impressive, but sadly didn't manage to really live up to the potential of the vicious flywheel last time. In fact, they ended up stuck on the flywheel thanks to Stampede. The polycarbonate arbor isn't exactly the greatest for protection, and the machine has no Shremek to get them back onto their wheels. Advanced Mimic Flipper. A ferocious chest that'll lure any unsuspecting hunter in to plunder its treasure before it introduces to them its vicious mouth with its clamping spiked jaw and flipping tongue. The tongue and chest top can be used in unison to help the machine right itself, but the exposed wheels might be this machine's downfall. Sign of the Cross. Spinner. A small little robot with 2 wheels and a spinning crossblade to slice and dice the opposition, and a mace that does something. While the machine has no Shremek, the team have said that they're convinced they actually have a winner this time, and a success to the broadsword from last year, which was stripped to help construction.
Robot ears, stand by.
2 spinners in this fight, and a lifter. The spinning blade of Vader, who fought before. Advanced Mimic, then newcomers with the flipping tongue. Very interesting. And Sign of the Cross from Broadsword in the Last Wars with a new weapon and new design entirely. It'd be great to see how this design works actually. It's very small and very compact, and definitely seems to be able to do the business as it's already thrown Advanced Mimic up and over. And now tangling with the vertical blade of Vader. Now, who is stronger? Sign of the Cross releasing the pit. Vader staying upright, trying to... Well, Sign of the Cross, definitely a better build than... Oh, definitely a better build from Broadsword in the Last Wars, and they just skirted with death there a minute ago. Advanced Mimic now righted. And now Vader to come in on Advanced Mimic. The best thing to do to Advanced Mimic, knock off those wheels, those exposed wheels. That's pretty much the only real way you can disable Advanced Mimic. But look at the sparks fly from Advanced Mimic and the flywheel of Vader. And I should point out that chest, while it may look like it's made of wood, is actually made of titanium. That is a very tough bot, so causing any real damage to Advanced Mimic is not going to be that easy. Meanwhile, Advanced Mimic, they've got a hold on Sign of the Cross, and this is the problem here, because technically they are not allowed to do that. They are not allowed to hold Sign of the Cross in, but I think there's a problem with their drive and the lifting tongue. We haven't seen that in action, and I'm wondering if, because of how wide Advanced Mimic is, they're catching the wheel on the angle grinder. Now, doing a wheelie, and that's going to cause a major problem, and that's very poor driving there for Advanced Mimic, especially now since Vader can use their flywheel to throw them up, and Sign of the Cross will do the same thing to Vader. They're up and over now. Look at this. A great collision here. Bang! Up and over. And Vader has no self-righting mechanism. So, Vader are done. They are out. Advanced Mimic, I think there's nothing left. Oh, hello. They're back. And now slamming into Sign of the Cross again. But you know, for me personally, I think this is Sign of the Cross's fight here. Meanwhile, they're both being counted out. I think they're both stuck. So, the question here is, will the fight go to Advanced Mimic, or will it go to Sign of the Cross? I think if this did go to the judges, it would have to go to Sign of the Cross. Far more aggressive, far more damage. I think they're through. And there you have a confirmation. Sign of the Cross through to the gold rumble. Advanced Mimic falls into the silver. Next up, Diamond Cutter, Smitzy, and Orange Swing. Diamond Cutter. Spinner. Recycle parts from the previous entry, Janky Shanky, now with a 2-wheel drive setup, a smaller body, and a circular saw attached to a dropping arm. They incorporated the front forks and turned them into a helping hand to get underneath the opposition and controlling them while using the blade. But now the issue is that the wheels are exposed, and a blade could take advantage of that. Smidzy. Rambot. Only stopped by P1 in the last wars, but definitely knows how to give a good fight by running both ways up and using the front wedge to get underneath and slam their opponents into walls and even into each other. It is very flippable, however, and the wheels are exposed. It's called Smidzy because it stands for "Sorry mate, I didn't see you," a sentence often said regarding motorcyclists. Orange Swing. Spinner. A machine built in similar design to Tombstone from the last wars. The wheels are from bicycles that the team painted orange and blue with a big blue blade and the ability to run both ways up, but the major issue for the machine is the high ground clearance.
Robot ears, stand by.
Diamond Cutter with the drop saw weapon, Smidzy with the rear blade and lifting wedge, and Orange Swing with the spinning bar.
3, 2, 1.
It'll be interesting to see how better Diamond Cutter is from Janky Shanky. Meanwhile, Smidzy taking on Orange Swing, and they're gone immediately! Well, that was the first assault on the side of Orange Swing. In comes Smidzy, and there's a pink, and then Orange Swing are gone right from the start. It's going to be the quickest elimination in one of these three-way melees ever. Wow. Okay, let's get back into the fight. Diamond Swing slamming Smidzy into the pit release button. It's already descending Diamond Cutter, but look at this now, using the blade to hold on to Smidzy just like they would with Janky Shanky. No lifting capabilities, but they've still got the great control, and down goes Smidzy into the pit. And a very good victory from Diamond Cutter. Sansi, a good thing for them. Poor Orange Swing, they didn't really have much to do. They got flung out by themselves right at the start. But anyway, this is how our lineup looks. Choking Hazard, Sign of the Cross, and Diamond Cutter into the gold. Firestorm, Smidzy, and Advanced Mimic will be facing each other off in the silver. But for the first bronze, it's Decapitator, Vader, and Orange Swing.
Robot ears, stand by.
Decapitator with the ramming spike, Orange Swing on the top corner with the spinning blade, Vader with the spinning blade as well. Feel cheated to be stuck in the bronze rumble.
2, 1.
It felt like Advanced Mimic were far immobilized, so they should have made it through. Meanwhile, battering the side of Decapitator, and I think they've immobilized them. They're on fire. And what's wrong with Orange Swing? They've not even gotten off the mark. I think there's a problem with Orange Swing right from the beginning. They've not gotten off the mark. They are immobilized. So it's just Vader and... I'd say it's just Vader and Decapitator. It's just Vader. I feel like this is just Vader being given a win. Although they are battering Decapitator, so Vader definitely... Well, out goes Decapitator, out the arena. And that's the end of the Decapitator. There's the whack and a little extra for good measure to make sure they truly get flung out of the arena. And that is Vader, quite easily, due to the death or glory. No real challenge in that, I think, for Vader. They very easily knocked out Decapitator right from the start. Orange Swing didn't even get off the mark. Next up, 70, it's Firestorm, Advanced Mimic, and Smidzy in the Silver Rumble.
Robot ears, stand by.
Firestorm, the 7th seed, look weary almost. Advanced Mimic, a little bit scared. Smidzy, they don't seem all that bothered, I don't think.
3, 2, 1.
Mainly because none of them can really affect it all that much, and Smidzy has great ramming power and is already underneath Advanced Mimic and slamming them into the wall. Meanwhile, Firestorm, the 7th seeds, coming in to lend a hand of some kind, I think. And now Smidzy underneath Firestorm and pushes them away. Firestorm, a real surprise, actually, to see our 7th seeds in the Silver Rumble, but there's a slap from Smidzy! And I think they've pinned... Okay, no, they're fine. Or are they? I don't think they are! I think Firestorm's immobilized here! Look at this, they've thrown Advanced Mimic, and that slam from Smidzy has pinned Firestorm up! They cannot move! They cannot get off the wall! Their wheels are not touching the ground! The 7th seeds crash out! And so early on too! And that is a shame! Meanwhile, I think Smidzy... I don't think Smidzy understands the term treasure hunting. I don't think he understands what that means. Meanwhile, Advanced Mimic, there is a problem for them. They cannot right themselves, and they won't be able to now. They're stuck in the wall, and they're trying desperately to right themselves. Smidzy isn't making it easy. They struggled righting themselves before, actually, in the preliminary fight against Sign of the Cross and Vader. And I'm wondering if they got whacked so hard in a certain spot, it's caused problems. Advanced Mimic, up and over. They cannot right themselves. And I don't think Advanced Mimic is going anywhere anytime soon. And I think that's Smidzy going through to yet another Death or Glory. It is Vader counted out and immobilized. And it's Smidzy through to their second Death or Glory. Well done to them. A real great display from Smidzy as Advanced Mimic crash out, as do 7th Siege Firestorm. That's the prize. Next up, the newcomers Choking Hazard up against veterans Sign of the Cross and 18th Seeds Diamond Cutter.
Robot ears, stand by.
Here we go, the Gold Rumble with Choking Hazard, Sign of the Cross, and the 18th Seeds Diamond Cutter. Choking Hazard, very impressive. So is Sign of the Cross, to be perfectly honest.
2, 1. Activate.
In fact, Sign of the Cross were here before with Broadsword, and it's definitely a lot better. Better success, although right now they're stuck on Diamond Cutter, who's flipped by Choking Hazard twice now, and nearly flung out of the arena. That's some lifter, and I think the blade's gone, the weapon of Diamond Cutter's gone. So, they are now weaponless. And I think that was done from the blade of Sign of the Cross, who now throws Diamond Cutter over. You can see the blade of Diamond Cutter. And now Sign of the Cross stuck on top and down into the pit. Flung in there by Choking Hazard. And this, well, Choking Hazard gets rid of Diamond Cutter now. And that was all done in a minute. Well done, Choking Hazard. A very impressive and convincing victory. Wow, that was very impressive. They may be new, but they're definitely making a racket down in the pits as they're through to the Heat final. Meanwhile, Sign of the Cross and Diamond Cutter falling to the Death or Glory against Vader and Smidzy.
Robot ears, stand by.
Vader from the Bronze Rumble. Smidzy back again at the Death or Glory. Got here again through the Silver Rumble. Sign of the Cross with the spinning blade. And the 18th Seed Diamond Cutter, who to me don't seem as impressive as the predecessor Janky Shanky.
One. Activate.
Which is a bit of a surprise. Janky Shanky did very well. You can see him here pushing Vader. Now Smidsy gets involved, slamming into the side of Diamond Cutter, and now seems to be giving them a merit dance at the side of the cross. Okay, I wonder. Vader hits the bit release button. Smidsy, are they going to let Vader go? Yes, not Vader, a Diamond Cutter. Speaking of Vader, Diamond Cutter throws him into the pit, but throws himself in as well. Smidsy slamming in the side of the cross, who's caught out by the blade of Vader. Now Smidsy got... Well, that happened in... Well, look at this. Here comes Diamond Cutter throwing Vader into the pit, but they've thrown themselves out as well. The side of the cross got too close to the blade of Vader, caught themselves out, and then Smidsy rammed up the blade of Vader, and they seem to have caught themselves on the pit. Now, is Smidsy okay? I think they might be a bit discombobulated. Sign of the Cross to sort that out, throws them into the pit. And Sign of the Cross nearly in there as well, but it's Smidsy. There goes Sign of the Cross. And at Sign of the Cross, we'll be heading through to the heat final to face Choking Hazard. What a shit. That was probably one of the more chaotic Death or Glories. But the results speak for themselves. Sign of the Cross moves through to the heat final, where we will have a grudge match against Choking Hazard from the Gold Rumble. This could be a pretty good heat final, if I'm honest, between these two machines.
Roboteers, stand by.
The heat final with Choking Hazard, the newcomers, and Sign of the Cross, who fought with Broadsword last time, and this machine far superior than it.
2, 1.
I'm very much looking forward to this heat final, and Sign of the Cross already getting underneath Choking Hazard and doing some damage, and have already overturned them. Now Choking Hazard can right themselves, and this is great work here from Sign of the Cross. I have to say, and if this goes to the judges, they'll be marking on style, control, damage, and aggression. But is there something wrong here with Sign of the Cross, I wonder? I think there's a problem here. What's wrong with Sign of the Cross? I don't think one of the wheels is working. Choking Hazard running up the front of him. But I think one of the Sign of the Cross's wheels is locked up. There's no controlled movement. And now Choking Hazard throwing them up, and all of a sudden this heat final has turned on its head. I thought Sign of the Cross were gonna come out on top here with the damage and attack and aggression they were dealing, but all of a sudden, one wheel locking up, and that's it! Sign of the Cross effectively immobilized. They have no real control, no real mobility. And look at this, they are officially being counted out. And, well, they may have been moved, but there's nothing Sign of the Cross could do, and that is such a shame, because they fought really hard in the Death or Glory to get this far. And for them to have had victory at the grip, but have it taken away, is such a shame and such a disappointment. To tell you the truth, though, the front wedge of Sign of the Cross makes it very difficult to get under, which Choking Hazard is discovering here, throwing them over again. They can throw them. It is possible for Sign of the Cross to throw them. We're not saying they can't, but it's difficult to get at them from the front. The front is extremely low to the ground, practically 0-degree ground clearance. But this is great work from Choking Hazard, and Choking Hazard nearly threw themselves down the pit there. Not like it would have mattered, because side of the cross is demobilized. What just came flying off there? I think it may have been part of the wedgelets. I was about to say forks. No, I think it's a wedgelet from Choking Hazard. Side of the cross. Very impressive. Hope to see it again in the next wars. Oh, hello. There's some movement. There's a bit of movement. And now, you know what? I don't think it's enough. I don't think the right wheel drive is as mobile as the left. I think that's it. There's no real life left, and side of the cross in the pit.
Cease.
And Choking Hazard, our next newcomer to make it through to the semi-finals. A great heat final with another newcomer making it to the semi-finals. Well done, Choking Hazard, and we look forward to seeing how far you go. But until then, take care, and I'll see you all next time. Farewell.